the question was, let's see, from Honeybee Maru, what where do you attribute your awareness consciousness? Family upbringing, Burning Man, or spiritual books? And it's yes, yes, and yes. One, I was very blessed to have a incredibly loving mother. So unconditional love was a given in my childhood. And so that put me at a huge advantage, I think, for there's a number of obstacles that I'd never had to face because I feel like I was very loved growing up. At the same time, I was balanced by my father, who is a judge and is extremely honest, and righteousness and is the most important thing to him. Honesty and truth is the most important thing to him. And so that balance with my mom's love, I think, was a really fertile environment for me to kind of be able to go inward and try to learn who I was and have the courage to kind of step outside the box. That being said, I didn't do that for years. In college, I went to the University of Redlands, and there was a separate school for like really creative people, and I didn't have the courage to go there. I went to the traditional school, I was in a fraternity, and then it wasn't until after that, when I got online, the internet was huge for me because I started to write about myself and started to receive what I felt to be loving responses to me, my vulnerability. And it gave me the courage to kind of, I called it like a digital striptease, where I would show a little bit myself, show a little bit myself. But I think what you're asking about is more tools that are accessible to everyone. And the big ones for me was the internet and being exposed, being access to ideas that are just not a part of mainstream education. And people, and realizing that there are communities of people that embrace ideas way outside of my suburban life. And then it was Burning Man. And actually, Burning Man, I got to Burning Man through internet people that said, dude, you should go to this thing. And so Burning Man opened my head in a lot of ways. One, it showed me that there's tons of ways to live that are outside the grooves that I thought were my choices. I met people, I'm like, wait a minute, you don't have a white-collar job or a blue-collar job. What is this? You know, and so that kind of started me questioning assumptions that I had about the constrictions I put on myself and my life and the possibilities for me. And then through those people, you know, and I started doing more reading. There was a big shift for me in about 2005, I guess. I started going to see Jacob Glass every weekend, jacobglass.com, who is a speaker. He does talks on A Course in Miracles in San Diego and other places as well. But he was hugely influential to me, partially because he had a style that was humorous and self-effacing, and I mean, I would laugh so much, and for some reason, sermons never penetrated me, but in the sense of laughter, and he swears, and I opened up, and I just learned a lot. And at the same time, I also started spending one day a week with my grandfather. And so his lessons were part of that, but part of it was also just being exposed to that kind of gratitude. And that's one of those kind of things, like when people talk about a guru, the benefit of a guru is that spending time in the presence of someone who has a vibration of deep love and gratitude can be transformative, I think. And so that was hugely influential to me, to just be able to spend time and see the way and feel the way that he interpreted his challenges, interactions, and the opportunities of every moment. You know, I mean, it's hard not to just to see your world differently when you see the way he saw it differently. When he can see the world as a miracle from a hospital bed, you know, I imagine that would be a very challenging place, and all he could talk about is the amazing medical care and the miracles of modern science. Now, I do have a reading list of books that I highly recommend. Top on my list is Alan Watts. He's a brain opener. He calls himself a spiritual entertainer, not a guru or anything like that. If you go to beliefbuffet.com, there is a reading list, my Amazon list, that I put like a bunch of books and lectures and other things that have been helpful to me in terms of kind of cracking my head open and being more exposed to the beauty and the love and the joy around me. I prefer to listen to spiritual things. Some books, I mean, some people prefer to read it in a book. I love hearing it. It's a better way for me to receive it all. So I have hours and hours and hours and hours of lectures, that some that I listen to repeatedly, because some of them are just, the depth of the truth is so profound. But on that list, you'll see some that are deep and like Alan Watts is a huge, that's like driving a spike into your brain. But there's other ones that are a little bit more gentle, like Sark is a great author in terms of just questioning some of your assumptions and seeing the love and the beauty and the joy all around. So BeliefBuffet.com has a reading list. And the other thing is, I would say, trying to understand that it is a practice. I don't see myself as reaching some plateau of awareness. I see myself as I have a spiritual practice, the same way a yoga person has a yoga practice. You don't achieve levels. You just do the best of where you are. In the same way, like if you're working out in the gym and suddenly you finally, after working out, you can finally bench press 300 pounds. You don't say, I did it. Cool. Now I don't have to go back to the gym anymore. You lose it. Spirituality and is the same way. Even love is the same way. The world will make your spirituality atrophy. The culture that we live in is not encouraging in that way. So you have to have a practice that pulls you back into that right mind that you know. That's why I do Hug Nation every week. Even if there's no one here, I know to myself that I need this anchor to snap me back into my sanity, into my true awareness of the world. And I've integrated more and more things. That's why I listen to lectures in the car all the time. That's why I try to surround myself with people that also make me feel that way. That's why if people on my Facebook friends list, I only read people that see the world as a place of opportunities. That doesn't mean people don't talk about their challenges, but if people talk about their challenges as a woe is me, I don't give people that many chances. If you say, whoa, this terrible thing is happening, I'm not sure how I'm going to get through this, that's different. Saying, why does this always happen to me? I never. Sorry, that's toxic. Also, never watch the news. The news is not the news. We think the news is what's going on in the world. That's not the news. The news, as we've defined it in our world, is in the grand spectrum of the universe, all the amazing things that are happening. What is going wrong in the world? Where did somebody die in a terrible way? Where was there horrific things? That's what we've started to say news is. And we've been brainwashed to think that we need to stay aware of that. It's like responsible to be freaked out and anxious all the time. That's not true. Your world, being vigilant about what you intake in terms of people, in terms of media, very critical. And then open yourself to more and more teachers and figuring out, tasting things from the Belief Buffet until you find stuff that feeds your belly in a way that maybe you didn't get exposed to from your traditional education or your family or television for sure. But it's a fun ride. Whee!